Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. My name is Debbie Farinella and I'm on the creative design team at Sizzix, and I'm here today to share with you a project for Halloween. Halloween's going to be a little bit different this year, but it doesn't mean you can't create any projects. You can make cards, you can make little gifts, you can do little projects to hand around to the little kids in the neighborhood or for your family. But just because we're not going to be trick-or-treating, you can still create a lovely card to send to somebody. So here's my project that I've created with some of our Chapter 3 dies and stamps. I've used the Haunted Hills die set and then the Fright Night rubber stamp set. I've also done some embossing and used some more glitter and some of our embossing powders. So I'm going to show you how I got started with this. But first, let me show you, these are all the stamps that come in that stamp set. You get some fun little characters, some great little sentiments. I mean, the bats and the faces on these characters are so fun. Then we have the Haunted Hills. This creates a circular image that goes within the circle framelit that's also part of the set. So you have the haunted house, the spooky tree with some pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns already carved. You have the graveyard, which got to have some tombstones, some individual bats, because when you cut out your haunted house, it has some bats attached to it, but if you want to layer some on top of it, there's some additional ones to also add to the project. And same with the jack-o'-lanterns and the pumpkins. These are additional pieces that'll layer perfectly on top of the ones that are created and that are included as part of the set with the tree. And here's the framelit. This is the framelit that all of these pieces fit perfectly inside of. So you can see the circular image on the base of these die pieces. These lay right inside perfectly. So what I did when I got started, first let me put on my glasses, is I took a piece of our Mango Tango paper. Now as you can see, it's just one solid paper, one solid piece. I used our multi-purpose blending tool and the blending tool heads, and with some of my Ranger ink colors, I created the spooky moon, kind of a sunset motif. So with the candy apple, the ripe persimmon, and the mustard seed, I started with the darker red at the bottom. And let me just kind of show you how I got started. Just start at the bottom and keep blending all the way around as it gets the darkest color, darkest shade that you want. And then you pick the next shade up and you keep going. What's great about our embossing, our tool heads is I can just take that off and then add the next color sponge that I want to put there on top, and then turn it and then can keep going. So to save time, I'm not going to do all the colors, but I just wanted you to see how I created the full color of this spooky moon. So what I'm going to do first is choose the area that I want to cut out for my moon. So if I want to have this area, then I'm just going to run it through, but I made sure I covered the whole piece so I can have extra pieces for another project and have on hand. I could have also just cut out the circle ready to go and just inked up the one circle, but this is just an extra little trick that you can do so you can have it on hand for some other piece that you want to do for another project. So this is the area I'm going to choose, and with my fold away machine, which I adore, I'm going to go ahead and run this through. You're going to hear the crackling. That's nothing to be concerned about. It's just letting you know that it's cutting through your paper and hitting your cutting pads. And as you can see, it cut a beautiful circle. So that's ready to go. So what I also have done is I've already added our Sizzix adhesive sheets on the back of this. So I don't have to worry about using any glue or tape gun or tape runner. It's already going to be a sticker. So I'm going to be able to cut these two pieces out at the same time because I just want to use the haunted house on this one. So I'm going to lay all my pieces on my cutting pad and on my platform. And I know these will fit because I lined them up earlier. So they are ready to go. Cutting pad on here. If you have any questions or any ideas that you're going to be coming up with for Halloween, we'd love to hear about them, and we'd also love to answer any questions you might have in the comment section below. So you can see how perfectly this cut out. So I have all my pieces, and they're already going to be a sticker, so I don't have to worry about any additional adhesive. So I want to pop out these little windows because I'm also going to put a piece of our gold glitter cardstock behind it, so it'll look like the witchy lady is peeking out the window for all the little kids coming through the neighborhood. So take all those pieces out, and the door just partially shut, so I'm going to just swing that open, so just in case somebody wants to sneak in. So those are going to be ready to go. I'm also going to use my little graveyard here. I'm doing that on the gray cardstock. It also has adhesive sheet. I'm gonna run that through. And at the same time, I'm gonna do the bats, as well as the jack-o'-lanterns. Just so you can see that how great you can do all your pieces, since they'll all fit on the cutting area at the same time, on the platform and the cutting pad. You know that you can get all your pieces done and all you have to do is assemble. So let me get that all lined up there. All these individual pieces are super cute, so you can also add it to any project that you're going to do. Just to have the house on a tag, turns out really cute also. Run that through. Got my graveyard all ready and spooky. Some pumpkins that already fell away. And the jack-o'-lantern cut out perfectly. Look at his spooky face. Those blades cut beautifully. They're so intricate, ready to go. And then my bats. So these also have adhesive on the back, so these are ready to go. No worrying about fussy cutting or gluing later. So let me go ahead and show you what I did. So this is ready to go. I need to have a little reference here so I can remember what I did. So I'm going to take my graveyard. And for the graveyard, I also want to cut out the individual tombstones. So let me get a piece of the glitter. And just with the tombstone die, I'm going to just have that on the upper half of it. So I'm just going to get the individual pieces. I could use glitter, but since we have glitter paper, it makes it even easier, right? Run it through the machine real quick, and then I'll just trim around it because I don't need that base. I just want the tombstones on there. Those are ready to go. Take my scissors. So since you're familiar with our machines, I'm sure you're familiar with our dies, but did you know that we have a great range of colors and they're all coordinate with each other? Whether it's markers, papers, glitters, embossing powders, they all coordinate with each other. So if you're working on a project, see how those line up perfectly? If you're working on a project and you need to make sure you have the same tone for sequins or beads, go ahead and look at our website and you will see that everything coordinates with each other and it blends perfectly. So the tone of your project will all come together beautifully. You don't have to worry about, wonder where I can go to find something that'll match this. We've got it. So this is ready to go, okay? Now for the haunted house, I don't need the gates and I don't need the area below because that's gonna be mounted up there on top. So I'm gonna trim that, trim the base of the house. Pop out that little area there. So that's ready to go. I've pre-cut certain parts also so you can see what I did when I created the spot that goes behind it. So these are going to go behind the windows and the window panes. So I'm going to peel that off. And since it's already a sticker, this will go right there on the door. You can see the glow through. This one's long enough so I can lay it back behind the two in a row. Come on. Of course, this one decides not to peel away as easily. Put that one back there. One there. And then I have a tiny one that'll go behind this one here. Let me trim that down. So you can see it glowing through, so they'll know somebody's home in case they're trick-or-treating and, kids get scared when the house is too dark. They don't want to go up to the door, but they don't know who might be living inside. So at least the lights are on, right? Okay, so that's ready to go. I could cut this off. I could put glitter on it. That's what I did here. I just added a little bit of our express glue, added some glitter, same with the bats. But for the bats, I've already cut a few. So as you know, we can just go ahead and add these onto here because you know they'll match up perfectly. So that gives you an idea for that, okay? So now for the tree and the spooky little jack-o'-lanterns, I'm going to pop out the eyes and the carved out faces. And I've already done a few that are ready to go. So what I did here, I don't know if you can see in the camera, if you can see it's got a little glistening to it. What I did is I took already express glue and just rubbed it on there and let it dry, and it kind of gave it embossed, not an embossed, sorry, a kind of a glittered effect, a little shiny technique. So that can be done. If you want a little glitter in it, you can use glitter, or you can use our clear embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and add that on there. They match up perfectly because it's the same die set and they were all cut at the same time, or made at the same time, so you know they're going to coordinate perfectly. So for this one, what I did is I cut out the jack-o'-lantern, and then I took our blending tool and just gave him a little extra color, so he'll be a little brighter, kind of glowing with the moon. And then here's another one. I use our Banana Blast glitter, and just with our express glue, went ahead and added that on there. So they match up perfectly on the ones that are already cut. And one last one. This is just a basic one. Okay, this is ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead, and with my circle, I'm going to do the tombstone first, a little graveyard. Sorry, it's hard for me to do this upside down. So that lines up perfectly against the base of the circle. And this makes it so much easier than having to deal with any kind of wet adhesive, because you know the whole area is going to be completely covered. Go ahead and add this onto there. Now I'm going to trim this off because I want it to be, I don't want it to hang off of the moon. So I'm just going to trim off these little pieces. Okay, and that's ready to go. So what I did next is I used our adhesive foam tape. Our foam tape is very sticky, and you know it's going to stay down and stay put. So what I like to do is I like to, especially if I want it to be doubled up and it won't gum up my scissors, I like to fold it in half like that. That way it'll be thicker and it won't gum up my scissors because it's cutting the paper against the paper, scissors against the paper on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead, peel that off. And this is such a sticky tape that once it's down, it's pretty down, so you know it's not gonna, your project's not gonna fall apart. It's perfect for any kind of a box or something too. So you can do a couple pieces. I'll just do one to save time. Right behind the door. Go ahead and line that up. And then adding a couple extra bats with my express glue. I like to do a little puddle on my work area just so I can dab it with my finger. And it wipes right off of that perfect work mat. Okay, so that's ready to go. So next I want to show you the technique with the Stampin' Emboss. So using our stamp set, I have the Happy Halloween message from that stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and with our embossing ink pad. So this is an embossing ink pad that coordinates and works perfectly. You need it to work with your embossing powders. So I'm going to go ahead, stamp that image on there, or should I say stamp it onto my white piece here. Lift that up. And then with my Earl Grey embossing powder, I'm going to go ahead. Now normally I would use my funnel tray, but I forgot to bring it out, so bear with me here. So that's ready to go. Okay, so I have one already ready and stamped and also already adhered to my card, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how that works. Now using our heat accessory tools, I'm going to save any kind of burning that could happen with my fingers, and I'm going to use my finger protectors. And with our heat tool, I'm going to go ahead and actually I'll hold it down so you can see better. And I'm going to use the heat and emboss tool. So our heat emboss tool has 2 speeds, so it's perfect if you're just not sure how strong you want it to blow or how hard. It's perfect because you can kind of gauge it yourself. So our embossing powder, if you can see, has some great little glitter pieces in there, so it gives it a really cool effect. All of them have that, so this is just the one that I used that coordinates with my card, but all the other colors are beautiful and they have the beautiful glitter inside. So this is ready to go. So I'm going to take my card, move all this goodness away here. And I'm going to start to assemble. So I could raise this up from the card if I wanted to have a three-dimensional effect, but I'm going to use our adhesive tape runner and just go around the sides of it. I could have also put our adhesive sheets behind this, but I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down there here like this. And then I'm going to use the adhesive tape runner to go on here. Center at the base of the card. And lastly, making sure my fold is on the left, because you know we've all done that, finish the project and realize, oh my gosh, my card is backwards. And go ahead and center this on the card. And there you go. So I'm going to show you one more fun technique that you can create just real quick using another tool, accessory that we have. It's our emboss and our emboss set. So you can create an emboss design with your die, and it'll show you right on your platform here. So if you're going to be doing anything with your thinlits, but you don't want to cut the piece, you want to create an embossed image of the actual die set, you're going to build it directly on this platform. So with the platform, the cutting pad, your die with the blade up, the paper, and instead of another cutting pad, you're going to use this accessory set. And this is a silicone rubber and an impressions pad. You don't need another cutting pad because it'll cut through the silicone rubber, or at least tear it a little bit. So I'm just going to show you really quickly what I did. First, let me cut another circle really quickly. Sorry about that. Run this through really quick first. So cut the circle out. And now with just this platform, one cutting pad, the paper, or sorry, the die with the blade up, and have the die against the good side of the paper. The cutting pad, oops, I'm sorry, the silicone rubber, and then the impressions pad. You're going to run it through. It gives a little more of a softer feel as it's going through. I'm not cutting, even though it sounds like it. And it created the same idea, but just the actual image of the die, the thinlit, to create the same technique other than cutting it. So that's a beautiful new idea that you can do to create a project. Adding it to any home decor piece creates a beautiful Halloween spooky scene. And we hope you have a wonderful Halloween, trick-or-treating if you can, but some people aren't able to. So whatever you do, we hope it's a spooky, wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.